Let's dive into today's topic: how to handle loneliness in decision making as a business owner. So, decision fatigue can be a huge deterrent in business success. Um, with the amount of distractions, amount of options we have, it's great to have a lot of options in today's day and age. But again, that causes what I call decision fatigue, because now we have to constantly be making decisions and choosing what options to go with. And so, Roger, one of my clients, had a situation where he just felt really lonely when making decisions. What had happened is when he was younger and as he was growing up, well into his adulthood, his father, who was like the alpha in the family, always made all of the major decisions for the family, in the business. And so Roger always just followed the instructions and directions as his father gave him. And so Roger didn't grow up with making major business decisions or major life decisions for himself. And he just became like used to someone else, in this case his father, telling him what needs to be done next and then what to do. And a lot of us grew up that way, whether it was your father or an elder in the family who was making decisions, or in society, it's like when you go get a job, then your boss makes decisions for you. Like the company has already set rules and regulations and guidelines for you to follow for good reason. They're made for a good reason so that all the employees of the company can be on the same page and follow along. So there are reasons why those are made. But when you're a business owner and an entrepreneur, now you are the company. Now you need to be the boss and make those decisions yourself, even make policies. And this is where Roger was, is he needed to make um, policies for his team, and he was feeling very lonely in making those decisions, because he was just like, well, if I make this decision, then what will, like, but then like there will be this benefit, but then there will be this cost, and then what if I do this? And like he would just keep swinging back and forth like a ping pong ball. And so you can see how that can get quite frustrating. And so that's where Roger was. So if you find yourself in that kind of position, or if you are in that kind of dilemma all the time when making business decisions, then this topic today and this video is for you. And we're going to explore what the truth is behind decision making. And once you understand that, you will know how to confidently make decisions and not feel lonely when you need to make decisions in your business. So the truth is that every decision that you make comes with its benefits and its cost, or consequences, as I call them. Now, as they say, truth is not always sweet. Truth can be bitter. And so this can be the bitter truth, but you need to hear it, because that's the only way for you to come out of this constant ping-ponging dilemma that may be going on. And that's where the fact is that decision making comes with inherent risks, because when you might make a decision, you're cutting off the other option, and when you decide to go in this direction, then now you're stepping into the unknown, And you know there are some benefits, and there are also going to be some consequences of that decision. That's just part of the game. And so there are some risks that are involved with no matter which decision you make. So it's not like you can escape the risks, but you can, if you understand them up front, you can minimize them and navigate through them successfully. And so decision making comes with inherent risks, and every decision has its benefits. I call them pros, and consequences, which are the cons. Like you're gaining something, but you seem to be giving up or losing something. And it just comes with the picture. And so the sooner you understand this, the sooner you're freed up from the ping ponging dilemma. Why? Because the longer you long for the benefits but don't actually get them because you haven't made the decision yet, and the longer you resist the consequences that would be associated with a particular decision, the longer you resist them, the longer they persist in your consciousness. And so let's look at an example to really understand this fully. Now, so let's just say a simple example. Let's just say that you need to decide where to have dinner tonight, and you want to go out to have dinner at a restaurant, let's say, and you're hungry and you need to decide where to eat, what to eat today. And so let's say that you have two options. One is you can have Italian food. You can go to an Italian restaurant, or the other option is that you can go to a Thai restaurant, and I love both. Um, so if you decide to go to an Italian restaurant, now the pro or the benefit of going to the Italian restaurant could be that the food will be mild, so not very spicy. If that's what you prefer, if you don't like spicy food or you would prefer to eat mild, that would be a benefit of going to the Italian restaurant. And let's just say that you have your family or friends and they are also hungry and want to have dinner, but let's say they don't want to go have Italian today for whatever reason. So then if you wanted to go to the Italian restaurant, the con would be that you would have to go alone, and you wouldn't have company of your family and friends. So the pro is that you get to have mild food if that's your taste. And the con is that your friends and family they don't want to go there, so you would need to just go by yourself and you wouldn't have their company. Now, this depends. If you want to go by yourself and you don't want company, then that would be a benefit to you, right? So the benefits and consequences are pretty subjective to you and your taste, as far as, do you like mild food or spicy food? Do you like to go eat by yourself, or you like to have the company of your family and friends? But in this case, you can see how, based on your taste and your preferences, one would be a pro, a benefit, and one would be a con or a consequence. Now, if you chose the other option, the Thai restaurant, now the pro would be that your friends and family, let's say they do want to go have spicy food and they want to go to the Thai restaurant. So now you would have the company of your family and friends, if that's what your preference is, and that would be a benefit, a pro in that case. And the con would be that the food would be spicy. Most Thai food is known to be more spicy. And so if that's not your taste, then, that would be a con or a consequence of making that choice. So deciding to go to a Thai restaurant. So based on this example, you can see how, depending on whether you choose to go to the Italian restaurant or the Thai restaurant, based on your taste and preferences, there are pros and cons to each decision that you make. And now, how do you decide? Well, you would need to consider all the pros and the cons of each decision, each option, and then decide which option's pros outweigh the cons for you. And so if you would much prefer to go and, have mild food, even if you have to give up the company of your family and friends in this case, and just go by yourself and get the food you want because you love Italian, then you would choose Italian. And if you would much prefer to have the company of your family and friends, and you don't mind eating a little less or like dealing with the spice level of the Thai food, but you just want to enjoy your family and friends and their company more, then you'd choose the Thai restaurant to go to. So, do you see how there are pros and cons to both options? And whichever decision you make, it's going to come with the pros and the cons. And you're going to look at both of them. You're not going to resist the consequences, and you're going to decide which benefit or pro outweighs the con and decide to go in that direction and actually decide and move forward versus just dilly-dallying between the two options and not. Because if you keep, let's say, if you keep dilly-dallying and not make a decision whether you want to have Italian or Thai, guess what's going to happen? You're already hungry and no food is going into your mouth and your tummy yet until you decide and get to the restaurant and order the food and eat it. And so you're going to keep getting hungrier and hungrier and hungrier and get more cranky and frustrated because you're hungry now and you haven't gotten to eat. And so the longer you delay the decision making, the more frustrated and hungrier or more, depleted you become because you haven't embraced the benefit fully and you are still resisting the consequence. But the sooner that you decide on the benefit that means the most to you and stop resisting the consequence, embrace that the pros and cons come with the decision that you make, with the choice that you make, and you embrace both of them, now you're going to feel really good about your decision. If you decide to go eat Thai and go by yourself, you're going to be really happy that you got to eat what your taste wants to eat, and you're going to have food in your belly. And you decide Thai, again, you'll get to enjoy the company and you'll still get to eat, but you got what you value the most. And so through that example, you can see how this can play out in a everyday example in a personal life. Now, let me know in the chat if you have any questions or need any clarification from that. Or if you're still with me and you what you're hearing from the examples so far. And then let's take a business example just to connect this to you as a business owner. So let's say that as a business owner, you need to decide whether to hire a new team member on your team. Kelly says, no questions, but these examples are helping me understand the concept. Looking forward to the business. Yes, business example. So the business decision, let's say, that you need to make is whether to hire a new team member on your team. And so the options are to hire a new team member or to not hire a new team member. And so first, to hire a new team member, let's look at that option. So that option has its pros and cons. The pro is if you hire a team member, potentially the team member would be able to take some tasks off your plate and free up more of your time so that you can either do more business growth activities or just rest and relax as well and get some more recharge time. So that's the benefit of it. And the con is that now you're making a commitment of your time and energy and of monetary compensation for this team member who you're bringing onto the team. So that that is a commitment that you're making from your business. And that will require you to do certain things and show up in certain ways that that will require a commitment. So that's the first option, is to hire a team member. And the other option is to not hire a team member. And so this option also comes with its pros and cons. The pro is that now you have more flexibility in terms of the amount of activity you do in your business, and more freedom, but also more like things you can decide in what time frame you will implement them and things like that. So you have a little more flexibility and freedom. You don't have a set commitment to of your time and the business's resources towards this team member. The consequences or the cons are that you may have a lot on your plate that that now you need to handle yourself, and you can't get that off your plate. And so that could cause overwhelm to you, and that could hold you back from further growth in your business if the timing requires you to step into the next level of your role in your business. And so, considering both the options and the pros and cons of each option, now you will need to decide which set of pros and cons which go with each of the options are you most equipped to and willing to accept and embrace even. And so in this case, what I like to do is like to make it visual. And so if you want to now make a decision in terms of which option to choose, you would here's a simple visualization exercise that you can do. You could just like either close your eyes if you need to, or just keep them open, but visualize in your mind's eye a scale. So like a scale that has the two, it has the chains and then the two parts of the scale, like the scale that the person like that is a symbol for justice. So you imagine a scale with the two parts, two sides out of the scale, and on one scale you would imagine all the pros of that option, and you'd put those on this one side of the scale, and then you'd imagine all the cons of the option, and you'd put those on this other side of the scale. And you'll notice that whichever side of the scale is heavier is going to immediately, like, go down because of the weight, and the other one's gonna be brought up. So if the pros outweigh the cons, like literally outweigh the cons, this side of the scale, which has the pros on them, is going to be, weighed down further, and the cons will be up, weighed up, if you will. Or if the cons outweigh the pro, then the con side of the scale will be lower. And so visually, just notice what this scale is doing once you put the pros and cons in the two sides of this scale. And if the pros outweigh the cons, then okay, make a note of that. And then now imagine the scale again with the two sides empty, and look at the second option that you have. So in the example of the dinner, first you'd imagine the Italian restaurant option, and you would put the pros and cons on the two sides and see which outweighs which. And then you'd start from, imagine this scale again, and you'd put the pros and cons of the second option, which was the Thai restaurant, and put the pros and cons of that on the scale and see which outweighs which. The pros outweigh the cons, or the cons outweigh the pros. And in the business example, for hiring a new team member or not hiring a new team member, for both options, you would do the same thing, put the pros and cons on the two sides of the scale and see which option's pros outweighs the cons. And whichever option has a higher pro weight than the con, that means there are more benefits to going with that option versus the other option, and then you would pick that option. Now, this is a very intellectual, logical, and rational way to go about decision making, and this is really, really helpful as a business owner to understand. However, there's also the big pick. There are still other factors to consider. And there's a question. So Kelly says, what if I feel like the pros and cons are balanced? Yep. So usually it's easy to tell what if the pros and cons are, which outweighs which. But if it feels like they're balanced, that might mean that this decision, you don't have a strong preference either way. Like you're kind of okay either way. And this is where then I tap into the next point that I was going to mention, which is, well, look at two things. First one is, look at the things from a bigger picture, and having clarity on your long-term vision and your key intentions, your goals for the year, your quarterly rocks. And I talk about this in my other videos. So if you need to go watch the other video, for this. The video is called How to Run Your Business, How to Build a Business That Runs Without You, where I talk about this. So, having the big picture vision and intentions and goals and the quarterly rocks clarity is important because now you can look at it from a big picture and then make sure that you're considering all the pros and cons connected to a particular option, and then make sure that you can see the scale and see which options pros are outweighing the cons. So that is important. And even after looking at the big picture, a lot of times looking at the big picture is going to bring that clarity even more. Sometimes, like looking at it from a short term perspective, it can be harder to tell which pros outweigh the cons of which option. And after looking at the big picture and having that clarity, and even after that, if you still feel like they're still balanced and you don't seem to see a clear preference, this is where I tap into my inner wisdom, my intuition, my inner genius, as I call it. You can tap into your intuition, your inner GPS, your inner genius, your guidance system that is what speaks to you through your heart and your heart's desires. And this is more on the feminine energy side of things. So this is not intellectual thinking and logical reasoning, but this is more from what does my heart really desire today? And tapping into your desires from your heart and soul and making a decision according to that option. So let's just say that eating Italian or Thai, like you had the big picture in mind, you looked at everything, you saw all the pros and cons, and they were just balanced. Well, then just tap into your heart and your heart's desire and listen to it and listen to your intuition and what do you feel like having today. And whatever it says, if it says Italian would be nice today, then you just go with that. That's the option. The trick in that is that a lot of times people will ping pong between thinking through it logically and thinking about the pros and cons and then getting stuck because, well, the pros and cons are coming out to be balanced, let's just say. Then you tap into your intuition, and intuition, let's say, says Italian. But if you aren't fully able to trust your intuition in your heart's desire, then your brain is going to kick in and it's going to start to say, oh, but then if I go to the Italian restaurant, then I won't have the company of my family and friends. And now the consequence of that option starts to make a big deal out of it, and then you go back into all the analysis and paralysis with it. And that is what I see a lot with my clients, and I help them at that point really tap deeply into their intuition, their inner guidance, and get to a point where they're at peace with both options and pros and cons of every situation so that they're not in scarcity and lack, because being in scarcity and lack at the end of the day is what causes all of the dilemma, the decision fatigue, the ping-ponging between options, all of that, the lack of clarity. So I hope my clients tap deeply into their intuition and connect with that to make the decision that's optimal for them. And then logically, rationally, also make sure that it's justified and it's rationalized and it's making sense from a clear reasoning of why that makes the best decision for now. And then they're able to move forward clearly with clarity. And so that is exactly what I help my clients with. And I have an announcement to make that I have launched my Legacy Builder program, which is where I'm helping business owners who have a family business, or if you just have a business where your family dynamics are intertwined, and if there's a lot of decision fatigue happening and a lot of important decisions that need to be made, but like Roger, my other client that I mentioned to you, there's a lot of anxiety that you're feeling with not being able to make a decision, and therefore your business is stagnating and not growing. Well, you need to be able to come to that clarity that I can help you with through this program that I have designed for exactly this reason. And then be able to confidently, with clarity, move forward, make decisions, and learn how to consistently keep making business decisions and not feel lonely within. Because when you're not able to make business decisions, it starts to get very lonely and you start to feel depressed and lonely. So if you are in that place, if you're feeling any of that, definitely email my team at team@avadhi.guru, and the link will be in the chat in the comments. And just put in the subject Legacy Builder Program or just help, and I'll get back to you with details on my program. I'm really excited for this program because, like my client Roger and so many other business owners I've worked with, decision fatigue can be the single most biggest deterrent in your business success. And so together we can bring that clarity and get rid of decision fatigue for yourself in your business and in life once and for all. So if you're ready for that, let me know in the comments, and you can put in a comment or just email my team. And if you have any other questions, also you can put them in the comments if you're watching this on the recording, and I'll get back to you there. Did that answer your question, Kelly? Let me know in the chat if that answered your question or if you have any follow-up questions. And if you are finding this content helpful, make sure you are subscribed to my channel. So I'm gonna keep bringing more content for business owners, for life, so that you don't miss any of the content. Make sure you're subscribed. Give this video a like, hit the thumbs up so that more people can find this content and watch it and benefit from it. And comment with what was your biggest takeaway from today from this topic. What are you taking away for yourself today? Kelly says yes, that helps so much. Yes, you're welcome. You're so welcome. Great questions. If you have any other questions, you can put them in the comments. But for now, let me know what was your biggest takeaway from today's topic. Using logic with pros and cons first, then intuition as a second layer to provide clarity in decision making. Yes, yes. And this can also go the other way. So if you are more in tune with your feminine energy aspect, You may use your intuition first to guide you in getting a sense of what your which option is the best one for you. But then it's important to go through the logical thinking process of the pros and cons of each option and clarify it, reason it out, and justify that option for yourself from a logical standpoint as well, especially when it comes to business decisions. Because business decisions have very tangible benefits as well as tangible consequences. And so in business decisions, in terms of the tangible aspect, it's really, really important that you listen to your intuition and your inner guidance first, if that's what's coming naturally to you, but then also think through it from a logical standpoint and make sure that you are clear on the pros and cons of the option you're choosing and that you are embracing all of that together. And that way, you won't be surprised or blindsided when you get the benefits of that option, but then you also need to deal with the consequences of that option. So, it's really important to have a holistic approach to decision making, which involves that masculine, logical thinking process, pros and cons, think of this scale and weigh out the pros and cons from a reasoning standpoint, and tap into your intuition, your heart's desires from a feminine energy and that right brained, creative, and intuitive perspective and a big picture vision clarity, and then bring that all together. And so that is exactly what I work with my clients on, and I'm excited to bring to you in the Legacy Builder program, because we are going to build your legacy through your business, through your family business, by making decisions that are super clear and solid for your business for the short term as well as for the long term of many, many years to come ahead. So, again, if you are resonating with the Legacy Builder program and what I'm announcing here, I am enrolling clients into that program for a limited time this month. So, the enrollment is closing at the end of this month, at the end of April. So, we have just a few days left. And so reach out to my team at Avadhi Dhruv, if you are resonating with this and want to talk to me one-on-one more about if it's a fit for you and your business at this time. And so take action in the direction of your dreams and make sure you are subscribed so you can watch my next videos. All right, with that, I will conclude for today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, everyone. Bye-bye.